All right, AJ, main event time. This is the lightweight championship, man. This is finally allowing us to fill the vacant lightweight hole that's been in there since Khabib said, listen, man, I'm done. Dana White tried to convince him to come back. Dude's like, I am done, bro. Relax. Now, is this the championship fight at 155 pounds that the people want and deserve? Absolutely not, but it's the one that we're going to get. And at least for the time being, we're going to have a new king at the 155-pound division, right? So Charles Oliveira opens up as a minus 134 favorite against Michael Chandler. And I'm not going to lie to you, AJ, I was a little surprised. I thought Chandler would be a favorite simply because of all the hype, simply because of the what have you done for me lately? Ooh, knocked out Dan Hooker. Now this dude's ready to be champion. It's like, okay, I still didn't see 3 rounds of Michael Chandler in the UFC. I saw one punch. Basically, it was one punch and then some follow-up ground and pound, and that was literally the fight, right? So it wasn't even a fight. It was just a starching. At the end of the day, we got an NCAA Division I silver medalist in 2008 and 2009 at the University of Missouri in Michael Chandler. And Charles Oliveira, man, third-degree BJJ black belt under Erickson Cardoso, second most submission wins at 155 pounds with 8. Third most finishes at 155 pounds with 10. 10-time performance of the night winner, 3-time fight of the night winner. Very, very decorated, man. Michael Chandler, man. What are the odds that we see a Chandler versus Dan Hooker number 2, man? Do you think this happens?
I think it's definitely on paper set up for that, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, we didn't see any round 2. We didn't see anything past 2 minutes of Michael Chandler. So it's going to be weird to say what we're actually going to see. But man, I think that's kind of where it's going, right? The long rangy striker. The dude is going to hurt you from the outside, even get you up with some knees while you're shooting in against the wrestler who's going to outgrind you, take it down to the ground, put a hole in your face. It's gonna be weird, man. I have this one. This one is a crazy fight to me. I'm very happy we finally having a champ in the 155-pound division, but it's weird when a title is going basically to the number 1 contender, because we all know. Damn, I just blanked. Dustin Poirier. Yeah. We all know Dustin Poirier is the people's champ. So yeah, what do you think, Derek?
Well, listen, man, I think that Michael Chandler, like, he can win this fight, and that's the craziest part. And the reason why I give him an edge, a slight edge, is because of his wrestling, right? When you're a high-level wrestler, and Michael Chandler is one of the highest-level wrestlers in MMA. Now, does he use his wrestling a bunch in MMA? No, not necessarily. He's really just a big striker, right? But having the ability to be a wrestler, you can be inside control and in half guard successfully without putting yourself in danger of a submission if you're that high level of a wrestler, right? Now, the problem comes, can you stay in control, inside control, and in half guard without falling into the full guard of Charles Oliveira? Because once you fall into the web of Oliveira, man, it's going to be a long night, right? Here's the thing about Charles Oliveira as well that's really interesting, that makes it kind of interesting for this matchup, right? Oliveira can get dropped and immediately jump guard, right? Like, that's the difference between him and somebody who's not as well versed on the ground like that. Is you get hit and you're not a grappler like that and you just drop, you're just trying to shell up and trying to get out the way. Oliveira, I've seen him get tagged on his chin, absolutely dropped, and immediately close the guard and then start scrambling. Next thing you know, dude's in like an arm triangle, you know what I mean? Like, just like randomly. It's like, okay, right on, dude. So this is a dude who's also a finisher, man. AJ, isn't it a little bit surprising to sit here and look at Charles Oliveira and people say, oh, who is this dude fought? He hasn't fought nobody. Let's just look at the last 5. Not even the names, but the results, right? Unanimous decision win against Tony Ferguson. We talked about that. Submitted Kevin Lee round 3. Knocked out Jaron Gordon. Jaron Gordon's legit, bro. If people sleeping on him, he is legit. Knocked him out round 1. Nick Lentz, the rematch, right? They fought, I think it was a no contest the first time. Now the second time, knocked him out round 2. Nick Lentz is one of the most legit wrestlers in MMA. Well, not anymore because he's retired, but he once was, right? And then David Tamer, submission round 2, man. Like, come on, man. He's finish. And Michael Chandler, I mean, it's kind of the same, right? TKO round 1, KO round 1, KO round 1. Gets knocked out by, you know what I mean, Pitbull, right? Patricio. And then unanimous decision. Both of these fighters only have one decision win in their last 5, but nonetheless, who do you give an edge to, AJ? I already have my answer if this fight goes 5 rounds. Because in their last 5, both of these dudes are going to be in new territory going 5 full rounds. So who do you give the edge to?
That's a hard one, right? In 5 full rounds, that's the one we still haven't seen. Because Charlie Oliveira, he's grown up in the UFC. You know, we know this dude. Or if you've been watching for a while, he's had his ups and downs, man. He's had, fought amazing people, had lost to amazing people, beat some really notable people. But lately, he's been on a crazy 8-fight win streak. If I had to give the edge overall, like on paper to paper, I would say Charlie Oliveira, man. He's been in it for longer. He's been doing it. 30-8 with a 1 no contest is absolutely insane. But at the same time, Michael Chandler, 22-5. The difference is who's been doing it at the UFC, who's been doing it at the top of the heap for a long, long time.
But what about the 5 rounds, though? Like, if it goes 5 rounds, Charles Oliveira's never fought 5 rounds in his career.
That was my next. That was exactly it. But now the whole factor of the 5 round comes into play because Charlie Olives has literally never fought there. So he has. We sure we don't have any info on Chandler in the UFC past 2 minutes, but we do have a lot of him in other organizations, deep waters. We don't have that with Charlie Olives, so it's going to be interesting to see. So personally, me, I give the edge to Michael Chandler all around. I don't really see how, I guess on paper anyway, where he's out labeled or outmatched in any sort of way besides submissions and that ground game. But really, Derek, to me, what do you think the chances are that when Michael Chandler takes down Charlie Olives, that he's going to get submitted? I don't really see that being much of an option. I think, don't get me wrong, it can happen, but I'm saying like 20%. I don't know. What do you say?
I think there's a very high likelihood, and the reason why is because Charles Oliveira is sneaky, man. It's not like when you watch him put that armbar on Tony Ferguson, it came from nowhere. And Tony Ferguson is one of the most well-versed grapplers in the UFC, am I right? So if you can do that against a real deal grappler, what can you do against a Michael Chandler? Now, let me put some respect on Michael Chandler's name, man, because a lot of us talk about him like he hasn't done anything. This is a 3-time Bellator lightweight champion. This is a man who has the most submissions in Bellator lightweight history with 6. But just like all bets aren't created equal, all submissions aren't created equal either, man. Oliveira could do it against everybody, anybody. It does not matter. But there is one major factor here, AJ, that we have to take into account. Michael Chandler said it the best, right? He was all like, listen, man, there's 2 things that you can't teach about an athlete, about a fighter, about a person in general in life. You can't teach quit, and you can't teach not quit, right? He says, Michael Chandler, he's like, I'm the definition of not quit. Charles Oliveira, he's quit before. And Michael Chandler just keeps doubling down. He's like, bro, I'm going to make him quit. I'm just going to drown him, and I'm going to make him quit. Because that is a real thing, man. And I have seen different fights. I think it was the Ricardo Lamas fight against Charles Oliveira, man. You know what I mean? He just got put in that position of that submission. And, I mean, there's the people who say, all right, that's it. Good fight. Maybe fighting for the lightweight championship was enough for me. And then there's the people saying, fuck this. I'm not tapping. This is it. This is my life. This is everything to me. And at least because Michael Chandler is much more well-spoken, he's an American, he at least talks a good game about how he's really well-versed for this, and Charles Oliveira isn't. Nonetheless, man, I think it's going to be a good one. But you see, we're over the time, man, so let's give our pick and then go on to the fight of the night so we can get this thing out the way, man. For the lightweight championship of the world, for arguably the most stacked division in MMA all around globally, right? Who do you think is going to be and new come Saturday evening, man?
Man, I think it's going to be Michael Chandler. I think the only way to beat him is to walk him down and out-bully the bully just like Patricio Pitbull did, and I don't think Charlie Olives is going to do that, man. I'm seeing another Dan Hooker KO round 1 from Michael Chandler. I don't know who called him it, but I think it's an amazing nickname, the Power Wombat. I think he's going to absolutely destroy Charlie Olives. Who you got and why, Derek?
All right, man. Well, this is unless Michael Chandler pulls that one-hitter quitter that he did against Patricky Pitbull, that right hand over the top that just flatlined him, I think Charles Oliveira gets the job done. I think it's a unanimous decision win. I think there's going to be a lot of submission attempts. But the one factor that I didn't talk about that I will bring up now is that Michael Chandler is a little heavy on that lead leg, and Charles Oliveira could beat up that leg all day long, man. He has had more weapons: elbows, kicks, strikes from distance, grapples, sprawls, Imanari rolls, jumping guard. He has way too many weapons, in my opinion. I think it'll make him a little more well-rounded. And guess what, man? This dude has been in this UFC limelight for years and years and years and years. And Michael Chandler has only been under the bright lights once. Bellator lights are bright, but not as bright as the UFC, man. So I'm going Charlie Olives, Charles Oliveira, Doe Bronx. Put some respect on my man's name. Unanimous decision to win. Contrary to, I do think he can get a submission. I think there's a very high likelihood. But I'm going to hedge my bet, and I'm going to go UD on that one. AJ.